Hi, it's Miles Red Michelle Birdsong, the Queen of Information, daughter of the Sun, Eve, mother of all living. Mainstreaming clues to you. This is part 2 of Eve Decodes Roy Ayers' album Stone Soul Picnic. But I may call it something else, I don't know. I'll begin where I left off. I was saying that the great master, the saint Sawan Singh, said we move too slowly from one thing to the next. The black masses moved too slowly from having been the original Jews, the killers of Christ, to being the inhabitants of the dark continent, Africa, to move too slowly to being those forgiven and brought to the civilized West to work for room and board called slavery. Move too slowly to being freed by President Abraham Lincoln after 650,000, mostly white men, fought and lost their lives in the Civil War to save the Union and free the slaves. We move too slowly from being freed to creating a way, like many others have done, to succeed. Christ has forgiven his killers if only they'd believe this and forgive themselves instead and stop wallowing in self-pity. We move too slowly from killing Christ to feeling gratitude. We didn't get there yet. To all the people, especially Christ, being as Gurinder Singh Dillon, who is giving the message to be positive, be positive, be positive. To be negative is to dig your own grave, he said. Tony Robbins quotes Sir John Templeton when he says gratitude is the secret of wealth. The rioters, the destroyers, the descendants of the killers of Jesus Christ have no gratitude in their hearts. That is why they have no happiness, no contentment, no fulfillment, true wealth. All this drama because you don't want to read books written by people who've made it, like Dr. Ben Carson did. That's how he figured out he could be anything he wanted to be, even though he was black. His mother had raised him to solve his own problems, so he learned to solve the problems of sick brains. He performed 15,000 brain operations before he retired. And now he's solving the problems of the people in the urban areas. He's the head of HUD. Dr. Ben Carson is being a saint, as St. Luke, disciple of St. Paul, being as Dr. Mike Murdoch. They both are still devoted to Jesus Christ. The black masses moved too slowly from being as Christ killers to being as Christ followers and forgiving everybody, including themselves. Okay, this is excerpts from the Conversation article. People think they know everything about slavery in the United States, but they don't. They think the majority of African slaves came to the American colonies, but they didn't. They went to Brazil, and they went to Caribbean, other places. They talk about 400 years of slavery, but it wasn't. They claim all Southerners owned slaves, but they didn't. Some argue it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. Then she says, as a scholar of slavery at the University of Texas at Austin, I welcome the public debates and connections the American people are making with history. However, there are still many misconceptions about slavery. Okay, so now Eve says, Instead of the rioters being filled with hatred for white American ancestors, they should be angry, if they must be angry at somebody, at their own ancestors. The black people who were the Jewish people back in the day, the first century, said, "His blood," meaning Christ's blood, "be on us and on our children." That's in the King James Version of the Bible, St. Matthew 27:25. St. Matthew being as Dr. Mehmet Oz, heart surgeon, Dr. Oz, and television personality. Your own ancestors caused you to suffer the punishment for killing Christ. Herod isn't suffering. He's Gary Bird, a successful black radio personality for 30 years. Judas Iscariot isn't oppressed. He's Stevie Wonder. The other person responsible for Christ's death, Pontius Pilate, is living like a queen as international singing star, son of the sun, Michael Bublé's pampered wife, Luciano Loplato. The reason the other killers of Christ, Herod, Judas Iscariot, and Pilate, aren't suffering is because their ancestors didn't curse them. And except for Judas, who hanged himself feeling more guilt than he could live with, then as Hitler trying to punish the Jews for killing Christ, only he punished imposters. The real Jews were the black, poverty-stricken, whiny, pissed-off masses. If you want to stop suffering from your ancestors' curse, forgive them and forgive yourself. Stop hating. Start feeling gratitude that you're not stuck in Africa with their many cases of HIV and Ebola and all the other diseases they have there. A friend of the family, Jason Llewellyn, went to Africa, got malaria, and died. In America, we know how to cure malaria and have known for over 50 years. HIV is cured by keeping one's immune system healthy, by living a healthy lifestyle. The same is true for COVID-19, say some doctors, and including Dr. Shiva, the inventor of email. He has 4 degrees from MIT. He's someone worth listening to. He knows what he's talking about. He started life as a member of the untouchable caste system, the lowest in India, and has raised himself to the top of society in America, heaven on earth. Too many people from the lower ranks have made it to the top for anyone to make excuses for their being failures in life. Change your mindset, said Jesus Christ, being as Gurinder Singh Dillon. That's him. Change your mindset from being a negative, pessimistic person to being a positive, optimistic person. Listen to those who've made it and do what they did. That's what Tony Robbins says. And nobody had a rougher upbringing than Tony Robbins. His mother put him out of the house when he was still in high school. Okay, and so then I said, do what they did. Is that so hard? It's harder to be poor, the worst condition on earth, always complaining and miserable. Start by being good to your family, your parents. Express gratitude to them for giving you life. And don't forget to express gratitude to the Creator. If there's a creation, there's a creator. If there's a painting, there's a painter, said Jesus Christ, being as Gurinder Singh Dillon, who being a projection of Nat King Cole told us, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. It's a song called Nature Boy. Okay, so that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some insights and can start to be positive if you've been negative. It's better. It pays off. Better to be happy than miserable. So long.